What's up guys, Tejas here from 11 Gauge Recordings and welcome back to a brand new video. This time we're going to have a look at the song Kanakana from the band Project Mishram. This song features Kmac. If you still haven't heard of Kmac, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Go and check him out. Go subscribe to his channel. Go subscribe to Project Mishram. Go subscribe to 11 Gauge Recordings. I mean, do it right now. Leave a like to this video. Links to pre-order the album is down below. This song is already available on Project Mishram's YouTube channel. There's a music video for it. Go check it out and show them your support. Now for this video, we're going to concentrate on the guitars and bass because that's what gives the heavy to this song. Because Project Mishram is a kind of band that fuses elements of Carnatic, which is the South Indian classical music, with metal, I had to keep elements of both of those genres true to their essence. So let's move to my session here and let's just start with playing you guys a part of the song or a few parts of the song so that you get an idea of the song, and then let's hone in on the guitars and bass. Here's the first intro of the song. This is where the guitars and the instruments come in. So that's basically the intro of the song. Maybe I can show you another part of the song. So as you might have noticed, the guitars are tightly edited to kind of sit in with that pocket of the drums. I think the bass also is similarly edited, keeping the guitars as a reference. So the guitars are mainly these two tracks. These two tracks aren't being used. So the band just provided me with the DI guitars, and I just reamed them using the Neural DSP Nolly and Studio Capzilla by Get Good Drums. Those were the main tools that I used for reamping these guitars. Weirdly, I've also used the Archetype Nolly for reamping the bass. The bass that you hear is a combination of three tracks. One is just the sub lows, one is the main clangy sound that you hear, and there's a slightly driven tone that's kind of mixed in with the other two tracks to get that extra bit of mid-range. It's very subtle. I'll get into the bass in some time. Let's just start with the guitars. So in this case, I've just used two mono instances of the plugin. When I started mixing the song, I couldn't decide which overdrive to use because both sounded really good. It's just that I ended up using the overdrive one because it suited better for the song. It's a very subtle difference again if you kind of switch between the two overdrives. It's not like a night and day difference, but then I felt like the overdrive one ended up being my choice because it suited the song better. The amp I've used is, I think it's the 5150 emulation or whatever. So this was a preset that I ended up using. I might have changed a few knobs here and there, but from what I remember, it's almost the same settings as the preset already gives you. That's about it for the amp. I did not use the cab. The cab button is disabled. The plugin goes into the Studio Capzilla. Graphic EQ, just removing a bit of 4K, and that's about it. And -1 at 250. -0.1 at 16 kilohertz. Way to be precise. That's about it. I haven't used any delay or reverb on the main rhythm guitars. It's basically the same for the other guitar. I think instead of a -4 cut, it's a -2 cut here. Yeah, the rest is basically the same. That's about what the guitar amps are doing. Let's move to the guitar cab. The V30 UK on the first one, Vintage 30 on the second one, V30 UK on the third one too. The only difference between the first and the third track is that the first SM57 is on axis and the second SM57 is off axis. The second track, I ended up not using it. It actually contained the MD421, but again, I ended up not using it. So it's basically this and this. I think it should be the same for the second track. Yes, this is the second track, and that's what the whole tone is. So I have a few other guitar layers, which is just the GTR. It's not really the main guitar layers, so I just ended up using. That's a trippy part. For that, I just used some pan automations. I think this is the random setting. I just wanted this part to be like all out crazy, get your mind to go, what is happening here? And there's a little bit of a plate reverb on both of these tracks. So that's about it for the guitars. Also, the rhythm guitar group has a VCC set on the USA, which is the API console, and a preamp to give it a little bit of extra juice and mid-range, basic high and low pass for rhythm distorted guitars. Not doing too much here, again around 593 hertz. There's a VC 2A. I don't have a 3A, so I just ended up using the VC 2A. It's similar but not the same, so just ended up using the VC 2A. It's again not doing too much. I've enabled the high pass sidechain 2 so that it's not reacting to the low end of the guitars, kind of smoothing out those transients. C4 here just to control the palm mutes because the mid-range tends to go out of control during palm mutes, so just to control those. And finally a limiter. Let's see how much the limiter is working. It's making sure nothing is going out of control. Nothing is overdone really. I think the most drastic I go in terms of EQ and compression is when it comes to drums maybe. But for guitars and bass and that kind of thing, I just tend to kind of record it well, and or at least if I don't have control over recording it, make sure that the band or the artists are recording it in the most ideal situation. So here I made sure that everything was recorded as per how I would want it. So the bass as a whole sounds like this. The first track is just the sub lows. I hope you guys are listening on monitors or a pair of headphones, because this would be a little difficult to hear on phone speakers. I hope you guys are not hearing on phone speakers. The second track is the main frequency range of the bass that most people will hear, and that is this. And the third one is just a slightly driven frequency range. And this is very low in the mix of the three tracks. As so you can see here, it's minus 7.5. The second one is minus 2, and the subs are at 0 dB. So for the sub, just two filters: high pass, low pass. Low pass is removing everything till about 120 hertz. High pass is removing everything up to about 60, because 60 and below is the space for the kick. The main bass track with the distortion is high pass at 150. Ended up using the Nolly by Neural DSP for this too. Just the default preset. Just set up the knobs to where I thought it sounded fine and blended with the guitars well. Removed a bit of mid-range and just increase a bit of 4.6 kilohertz. That's about it on the main bass track. Oh, actually, there's this going on too, but this isn't doing much really. And last but not the least, on this track is a limiter. So this limiter again is not doing much. It's just to bring the level of this track up. But on the sub bass track, the limiter is actually clamping down on the transients, because you don't want the lows to flap around and move too much. You want it to be in control. That was my idea with the limiter on the sub bass track. The same EQ on the second track, the Sansamp, bass overdrive, removing a bit of mid-range. That's about it for the bass. And the groups, the bass group has this going on. So the first compressor is clamping down on everything other than the really low frequencies, so that's why the high pass sidechain is enabled. The second compressor is clamping down on basically the mid-range of the bass. Some more EQ at the end. Now the bass and guitars together sound like this. So I think we'll leave the video at this point. You can leave a comment on which other part of the song you would like me to focus on, if anything, after listening to the song, obviously. And if you still haven't, please subscribe. Hope you guys have a great day. Cheers.